Hi everybody and welcome to FABEDhacks. I'm Rosemary, and by popular request I have more organization hacks, this time using recycled and repurposed items to create, with just a little help from some paint, glue, and dollar store items. As usual, I did go a little bit overboard, and so to cover them all I will be publishing multiple videos in this series. But for this first one I will be sharing storage and organization ideas for craft supplies, kitchens, and desks or office spaces. In future videos, I will be covering such areas as bathrooms, closets, and toy organization and storage, which again will be made with recycled and repurposed items. So be sure to stay on the lookout for those, or better yet, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you are notified as soon as they are published. Okay, without any further ado, let's get started. If you are short on storage or drawer space in your kitchen, you may have a drawer or two that looks something like this, with everything from the can opener to keys to spatulas all stuffed into one drawer. So in this section, I'm going to offer a couple ideas to get this clutter under control. I'm going to start by making a utensils caddy out of this large disinfecting wipes container. Now I chose this one because of its large base and it will be able to hold the utensils without toppling over, and also because of the plastic, which will be waterproof and also easy to keep clean. Now, once I remove the paper label, I had this nice white canister to work with, and I'm going to decorate it using some scrapbook paper, and I'm going to apply that with some Mod Podge. Since the scrapbook paper would not fit all the way around, I did have to cut another filler piece of scrapbook paper, so I'm going to just first apply that filler piece, and then go back along the edges and make sure that that edge is nice and securely placed down with the Mod Podge, and then proceed to put my full piece of paper all the way around. And I'm going to just line up that pattern as well. And I did pick a pattern that has a nice white background, or white is a predominant color, so that it could pick up the white of the canister and it would all look nice together. Now once that bottom layer has completely dried, I will go back and apply another coat of the Mod Podge on top. Once the Mod Podge was dry, the canister was ready to fill with my cooking utensils, and it makes a beautiful decorative piece in any kitchen. To get some order and organization to the other items in the drawer, I'm going to use these cupcake and pastry containers. Now, these are surprisingly pretty sturdy. You could double them up if you wanted something a little more sturdy, but all you need to do is separate them, and they make some great drawer organizers. So here we have the bottoms of the cupcake containers, and you can see how they make great little organizers for measuring spoons and keys and other little items that you tend to have kind of just floating around in your drawers. Behind those, I placed the lids to the cupcake containers, and those also had a great little separator in the middle, so they made great organizers for things like can openers and bottle openers and garlic presses. Next, I have the base of what was previously a Danish container, and that made a great organizer for my spoons and scrapers. And since I still have a little open space there behind, I'm going to take the lid of the Danish container and I'm going to just cut off that one end. Then I'm going to slide the piece up underneath of the base, and that gives me a little extender there that I could put my measuring cups in as well and have a nice, neat, and organized space. For my knives, I'm going to be making a magnetic knife holder. Now, although I am a big fan of E6000 glue, I have been getting a lot of comments on its toxicity. So since these knives that this holder will be holding will obviously be coming in contact with food, I did want to try some of these non-toxic options. So I have both the Crafter's Pick, which I purchased at Hobby Lobby, and this Type Bond, which I purchased at Lowe's. To make the knife holder, I took 2 pieces of heavy cardboard that I cut from a shipping box, and I cut them 2.5 by 10 inches. And then I took some of that Crafter's Pick glue, and I'm going to just coat the entire top of that first board. So I'll put a nice amount of the glue on, and then I'm going to go ahead and spread it to make sure I have a nice even coat all over the top piece. And then once I have all that glue applied, I'm going to just add the second piece right on top. For the magnets, I'm going to use these clip magnets that I purchased from Dollar Tree. They come 4 to a pack. And then I just took a pliers and I just popped off the clip piece. Next, I'm going to place them on the cardboard and then trace them out with a pencil. Then once I have my pencil markings, I can go back with my utility knife and just cut the circles out. Now I'm just kind of cutting that first top layer of the cardboard out so that it still has the backing in the back. I don't want to cut straight through. I'm just kind of cutting out a little indentation so that I can place the magnet inside. And then I'm going to go ahead with both some hot glue and some of that Crafter's Pick glue to attach my magnets into the cardboard. Once the glue is dry, I'm going to cover the cardboard in this wood grain contact paper that I got from Dollar Tree. But first I'm going to add some black washi tape along the edges. I did purchase this washi tape from Walmart. And so I just go along the edges in order to get a nice clean edge on. You can also do this with the contact paper. It just was easier to do it with the washi tape and I had it on hand. So I went ahead and did it that way. And then I was just able to cut a nice rectangular piece that's just the exact measurement of the width of the holder so that this way I could just wrap it straight around, and it just made it a whole lot easier. And then you can see that the contact paper does not affect the magnet at all, and it is still able to hold the knife. To attach it to the wall, I'm going to use these command type strips. However, if screwing into the wall is an option for you, that would always be the best choice. And of course, you always want to use anchors or anchor type screws, or better yet, into a stud. And here is the finished project hanging on the wall with the knives attached. Now, I did also want to mention though that if you are concerned about the weight of your knives, if they're heavier knives, you may want to consider widening the strip and adding 2 magnets per knife, and then this way it'll hold it nice and secure. And here's another magnetic organizing solution for your spices. In this case, I'm going to take some baby food jars that I'm going to paint the lids and the bottoms with black chalk paint. Once that paint is dry, I'm going to go back with a white chalk marker and just do a little design of dashes around the outside, and then just add my spice name in the middle. For the lid, I'm going to take some of these magnets that I purchased from Walmart, and I'm going to just glue some magnets into the center of the lids. And then it's just a matter of filling the jars and attaching them to the side of my refrigerator. And this makes a great option, especially if your refrigerator is in close proximity to your stove. This next project is great anywhere you can use a little extra shelf space. To make the shelf, I took 6 pieces of cardboard that I cut to 16 by 5-inch pieces. And then I took some of that Titebond glue and I added it in between each of the pieces. So I just made sure it was spread all over the place, and then I just went back and added the cardboard on top and then proceeded to do that for all 6 pieces. Then once all the pieces were glued together, I just went back around the edges with some of my black washi tape so that I could just cover the edges that way. You could, of course, use contact paper to do that, but I just find it easier to use the washi tape, and you don't get all that kind of gapping and welting. It's sometimes just kind of difficult to do it with the contact paper. So I find this method easier, but I'll just go ahead and continue to do this. Alternately, you could use the masking tape and just paint it black, but I had this on hand, so I went ahead and used it. So then once all my washi tape has been applied, I can just go back with my contact paper and I can measure out exactly to the size that I need, and then just cut a strip for the top and a strip for the bottom. And then as you'll see, it just kind of peels off and goes on nice and easy. I don't have to worry about getting around the corners or getting around the edges. And it's just a nice, easy application of the contact paper. And then once I apply it to the top, I can just reposition easily. You can see how it can just be easily repositioned versus if it's like wrapped around the corners and on the edges and on the sides. It gets a little complicated to reposition the contact paper if it's not sitting right. But in this case, I was able to just pull it right back off, reposition it easily, and then just stick it on and go over to my other side now and just do the back edge of this shelf. And then there you have it, back, front, and sides, nice and easy. To attach the shelf to the wall, I'm going to use 2 of these corner braces. Now these come in a pack of 4. I purchased these at Walmart for $5.28 for the whole pack. I only need 2 of these. I'm going to go ahead and paint those black. However, if you're going to be putting anything into the wall that either has weight or is going to hold weight, you definitely preferably want to screw it into a wall stud. And if that's not available, you want to use either an anchor set like this that comes with an anchor and a screw, or they now have these screws that are anchor and screw combos, which my daughter actually told me about, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed with them. I think they do a good job, and I am going to use them for this project. However, I don't know. I'm a little concerned to use these for like a heavy duty thing, and so call me Nervous Nelly old school, but I'll be going with the old anchor and screw combo for a heavier duty project. And just a quick mention about the cordless drill and driver that I use. I get a lot of questions about this, and I just wanted to let you know that I use what's called the switch driver from Works, and this is literally like the best drill. It easily switches between a drill and a driver just by pressing that little red button, and it's super lightweight. The battery lasts forever. The bits change out super easy. This is not sponsored in any way from Works. I just get a lot of questions and wanted to let you know that as you can see, we've had this for quite some time and really love this drill. So if you're in the market, I cannot recommend it highly enough. Okay, so back to the shelf. To attach the brackets to the shelf, I'm going to measure in 3 inches. Then I'm going to take some E6000 glue and I'm going to put it on the shelf at that spot. Then I'm going to just attach the bracket, and then I'm going to take some of these screws that came with the bracket, and I'm going to add some of this tight bond to the screw threads. Now you can do this with the E6000 as well. I just had the tight bond on hand, so I used that. But you're going to need some glue since this is not wood, and you know the screws aren't going to stay in there. But if you add a little bit of the glue, it's going to hold better into the cardboard. And then I'm going to just repeat the process on the other side, a little E6000, then some glue on the threads of the screw, and then just go ahead and screw that into the bottom of the shelf, and then let everything dry, and then it's ready to hang with one of the methods that we just discussed. And here's the shelf again, this time being used in a more of a family room, living room, or desk office space area. Speaking of office and desk solutions, here's a desk organization set made from cans and toilet paper rolls and cereal boxes. And I know this is nothing new. I know I, for one, have been making things like this since I've been in Girl Scouts, and that was a really long time ago. But what I'm trying to do here is to offer something that's a set with a more upscale look. First, I'm going to make the pen and pencil caddy, and I'm going to start by taking this lid to a shoebox. It's a nice skinny shoebox, so it works just well for this application. And then 2 14-ounce cans and 1 24-ounce can, and then 2 toilet paper rolls and 2 paper towel rolls. And I'm going to paint the insides of the rolls and the cans with black paint. Once the paint is dry, I'm going to start with the toilet paper rolls and just give them a nice coat of Mod Podge all the way around. And then I'm going to take some of this scrapbook paper that I got from Hobby Lobby. It has a nice parchment background with a pretty script on the front. And I thought that would just be great for an office set like this. And so I'm going to just take those pieces of paper and roll them around the toilet rolls and just secure it again on the edges with some more Mod Podge. Next, I'm going to take my paper towel rolls and I'm going to measure up 6 inches and then just cut them there. Once cut, I'm going to again coat the rolls with Mod Podge and then go ahead and apply my cut pieces of scrapbook paper. Again, applying some more Mod Podge to the edges just to seal it. Once my rolls are done, I'm going to head over to the cans and do the same process, coating the sides of the can with the Mod Podge and then applying the cut pieces of scrapbook paper. And as you can see, I did cut the paper so that a little bit of the black paint on the top and bottom of the cans would still be showing. Before attaching the pieces to the base, I went back with my black washi tape and just accented the tops of the rolls with the washi tape and then gave everything a nice coat of Mod Podge on top. To attach the pieces to the base, I used E6000 glue, and first I took the 2 14-ounce cans and placed those at the edges of the box lid, and then the larger can in the middle with the 2 paper towel rolls in the back and the 2 toilet paper rolls in the front, and then just again applied the E6000 to the bottoms. And there's the finished project, and I was able to place plenty of things. There's room for 2 scissors, pencils, pens, expo markers, Sharpies. Everything is able to fit in this caddy. To make the matching office supply tower, I took 5 of these dog food cans and then also used 4 of these Dollar Tree marbles. I'm going to just add that to the bottom can, glue the 4 of those to the bottom can so that it creates some feet for my little tower. Now I used hot glue, but you need to use something like an E6000 in order to make those stay on permanently. Then I took everything and gave it a nice coat of black paint. And then proceeded to apply my strips of the scrapbook paper again with Mod Podge. Next, I took these Dollar Tree stickers and just cut them down so that they would make a nice size label for my little cans. And I just added my names of the different things I wanted to store there, like paper clips and rubber bands. And then I went back and gave everything another coat of Mod Podge. And then what's nice is that all these little cans stack one right on top of the other so that it makes a nice little tower and gets everything off of your desk and out of the way. To make the coordinating letter holder, I'm going to use an empty box of cereal and just go back and reseal the top with some hot glue. Then I'm going to take my ruler and mark down on the box from the top 3 inches on each side. Next, I'm going to flip the box to the side, and from that upper left-hand corner, I'm going to place my ruler on that corner and then mark down to that 3-inch mark that I just marked in the front. I'm going to repeat the process on the other side. Go to my 3-inch point on the front of the box and mark up to that corner. Then I'm going to take my ruler and go across the front of the box from that 3-inch point to that other 3-inch point, and then just mark with my ruler right across the front of the box. Now these are going to be the lines that I cut along with my utility knife to cut out the letter holder. And then I also used my scissors where it seemed easier to use those there along that back corner. It was just easier with the scissors. And then I just switched back again, kept going kind of back and forth between the utility knife and the scissors as to whichever one was easier. Next, I'm going to create some stability for my letterbox by adding some feet to the bottom. And I'm going to do that using some of these Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to take 2 and glue them together. While those pieces are drying, I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure in 2 inches from each side of the box. Then I'm going to take my glued pieces and I'm going to hot glue them to the bottom of the box, kind of from the middle at that 2-inch mark where I measured in. I'm going to take those 2 pieces on one side and then add another 2 pieces to the other side and then repeat the process on the other side of the box. Once everything is glued together, I'm going to paint the whole piece with black paint. Once the paint is dry, I'm going to go ahead and add a piece of that coordinating scrapbook paper across the back, again using Mod Podge, and as you can see, I am also leaving a nice black edging all the way around the piece of paper so that it gives a nice accent of that black trim all the way around. Now I'm going to just do the same process in the front, and again cutting that piece of paper to size so that it does again leave some nice black edging all the way around. And then cut and Mod Podge on the side pieces as well. Again, leaving space for that black edging. Once all the pieces are applied, I'll go back with another coat of Mod Podge across the entire piece. And here is the finished project, ready to hold some letters or outgoing mail or other items. And one last thing before we leave the desk area. I don't know about you, but I have one desk drawer in my desk and it is extremely shallow. And I found that almost nothing works in there. But back again to these little pastry holders and cupcake holders, especially the ones for like mini cupcakes or some type of little pastry. They tend to be nice and low profile and they work great in these shallow desk drawers, especially if you can't find anything, that you can buy that is, not too high to fit. And now moving on to crafts. And this has to be the most requested area for organization ideas. First up is something I have been wanting to make myself for a really long time, and that is a holder for all of my scrapbook paper. And I'm going to make that out of this a 13 by 6-inch box, but then with the flaps extended, it becomes a 13 by 12-inch box. And it's just a box that my Rubbermaid containers came shipped in. I purchased last Black Friday, and I'm going to just go ahead and extend the one flap out on the bottom, but then I'm going to tape the other three back so that you can see what I'm doing here. And what I'm going to be doing is using my ruler as a spacer to mark where I need to attach these wood dowels that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to place the ruler right up at the top of the box, and then that is where my first dowel is going to be. So I'm going to leave enough space, a ruler's width space, for the first dowel to go in at, and I'm going to just use some of that tight bond, dashes of that, and then in between those dashes I'm using some hot glue. And then I'm going to just attach the dowel right there at the bottom of the ruler. And then once that is secure, I'll remove the ruler and use it again as a spacer to create the next location that I'm going to place my dowel. And then again, I'll just repeat the process. I will use some of that tight bond glue and make it kind of in dashes and make sure it gets all the way up to the edge of the dowel, and then go in between those dashes with some hot glue. And I do this because the tight bond will take longer to set up than the hot glue, and I don't want it to be moving around on me or getting knocked around as I'm moving the ruler around. So I want that hot glue to have that quick set, but then of course the stronger bond will be from the tight bond glue, and that will set up over time. And then I'll just continue the process all the way down that side of the box. Once all the pieces are done, I'm going to set that aside to let everything dry. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and make my shelves. And I'm going to use these pizza boxes to create my shelves. And so for the box that I have, I needed the shelves to be a little less than 13 by 12 inches. And so since the scrapbook paper I'll be storing in it is 12 by 12, I use that as a guide to measure the distance from the edge of the paper to what I needed for the shelf. So it just was an easier way for me to kind of measure it, and so I just used that as a gauge and then just measured an inch and a little more than the size of the paper on the other side so that I could get the proper size of the shelf. Now I'm going to go back to the other side of the box and repeat the whole process so that I have two sides of dowels all on each side of the box. And if I'm going by that same method and just using the ruler, it's going to line up perfectly when I go to put my shelves in. Now that all the dowels are in, I can go back and tape the flaps together, creating front corners for the box. So I'm just using some masking tape, and I'm just going to go around to all the four corners at the front of the box, taping those flaps together. I'm also going to tape off the front of the box all around the edges. And here you can see those corners and those edges and how they have been taped. Now I'm going to go and paint the entire box white. To give my shelves a little bit of a decoration, I'm going to go ahead and put some black and white polka dot washi tape along that front edge. And so here in the box you can see already where I have put the black and white washi tape on the edges of the shelves, and here I'm just putting it on this last shelf and trimming it off, just creating a little decoration on the edge, giving it a little final touch. And here is the completed scrapbook paper holder, painted white with the washi tape trim on the shelf edges and filled with a selection of different scrapbook paper. Next, I'm going to make the craft paint holder out of a shoebox and some paper roll cardboard. For these, I'm going to not use a full roll. I'm going to cut it down to about a 3-inch size roll. So I'm going to take about an inch off of the toilet paper roll because they're about 4 inches long. And I'm doing this because I want to be able to get at the paint, and if it's 4 inches, it'll just be too hard. I'll have to kind of dig in there to get the paint out of the roll. So I have to cut them down a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and hot glue them into the box. And so I put a strip of hot glue to the side of the roll and then a strip of hot glue on the bottom. And then I'll continue that throughout the box. So I'm adding 7 in this box because all boxes will be different, but in this box I'm going to have 7 across and then 4 high. And this is what it looks like when all the rolls are in the box, and then I can just go ahead and add my paint. I could have painted this, but I decided to leave it au naturel since I thought it looked good just like that. Next, I'm going to make a 3-compartment paintbrush caddy. So I'm going to take 3 of my quart containers of 1/2 and 1/2. I'm going to measure up 3 inches from the bottom and then just cut them off there. So I just want to have the 3 bases of the quart containers, and then I'm going to go ahead and hot glue the 3 pieces together. Next, I'm going to take some Mod Podge and just place that across the front of my little caddy and along the sides. And then I'll take a strip of some scrapbook paper, which I'll just lay there across the front and then wrap that piece around to the sides. Then I'm going to flip the whole caddy around, again add some Mod Podge to the front and sides, and take my second strip of scrapbook paper, again lay it across the front, and then just fold it around to the sides. Then I'm going to take a little more of the Mod Podge and make sure that I have sealed off those sides where the 2 pieces meet, and do that again to the other side to make sure that those 2 edges stay down. And then once that first coat is dry, I'm going to go over the entire piece with another layer of the Mod Podge. And then once that's dry, I just fill it with my brushes, and there I have a sweet little brush caddy. Another option for craft supplies would be to repurpose a soda bottle carton. And for this one, I just painted the carton white and then took some of these Ozarka water bottles and removed the label and then just cut the top of the bottle off using a utility knife. I then went back with my scissors and cut off any of the kind of jagged pieces. The bottles will better hold the shape and will also provide nice containers for the items I'm going to put in. Next, I'm going to add a label to the front so that I can mark whatever supplies I'm going to be putting in this caddy. As a finishing touch, I went back and added some washi tape to the tops of the bottles. Now this provides a little decoration as well as a little protection against any sharp edges that may still be there on the tops of the bottles. And then it's ready to fill with whatever supplies I need to store and organize. Another great recycled item to use for craft storage and organization are these egg cartons. So these particular ones are great because they are see-through, a little better than the cardboard ones, but the cardboard ones are great as well. But these are nice because they're see-through when you can see what's in them and kind of go for the colors that you're looking for if you're organizing by color or by the type of item. For example, here I have some accent pieces like little beads and glitter and pearls and that type of thing. And then also I have one for the washi tape. So I can just see right into the container. I can see what it is. And you can see how everything just lines up. It holds these small items just perfectly. Another one of my favorite recycled items to use for craft storage are definitely shoe boxes. These are great for all types of stickers and labels and different little toys and gadgets and different things. You can just kind of stick them in there, put them on the shelf, and just holds everything so nicely. You know where everything is. Now, the thing that I did here is just simply to paint them. Because I have all of these shoe boxes, it just doesn't look very nice. But once you put a uniform coat of paint on and some labels, it's amazing how everything just looks so nice and organized and so much better than it did before when it was just a bunch of different shoe boxes and cartons of different sodas and different types of things like that. So once you give that uniform color and do a little accenting, everything just magically comes together and it just looks beautiful. So here I've just added some labels, the paint, and you can see the difference it makes. Now here's everything together once again, and you can see how that uniform color just pulls everything together, neatens everything up, and just adding a few of those black and white accents really just makes everything pull together and look really great. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this first recycled organization hacks video, and please don't forget to be on the lookout for future videos on this same topic coming up shortly. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give a thumbs up, and please share with any family and friends you think would also enjoy this video. If you have a favorite or plan to make any of these, please let me know in the comments below. And if you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you join the family. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on FABEDhacks, where we're putting the extra in ordinary, one DIY at a time.